To me, the greatest accomplishment is finding out that I could find out who I was and what I could do. And the greatest accomplishment, having started the company, which I retired last year, 2 years ago, was being able to keep a number of people employed and become really a door into the advertising industry, because the advertising industry had been segregated. And it was very satisfying to me because I feel that I made a difference. So we basically were able to build a business. We're the oldest surviving agency, we still are. Why was it difficult? Because there was no media. There really were no outlets directed to minorities. And the other thing was that I found out how to do it. But since there was almost no media except Ebony Magazine, I created a platform that would provide all these services in one house. I had a public relations arm, I had an entertainment arm, and an event arm. I started a Hispanic division in 1980. And the truth was, I even started ultimately a national syndicated black news network.
What has been your greatest setback, and how did you deal with it?
First of all, in order to start the company, they invested in UniWorld. It was a venture capital from Connecticut. And frankly, I don't mind saying, they risked $250,000 to help us start the business. For the next 7, 8 years, we were not able to generate enough money or enough advertising to sustain the venture. So they had a board meeting, and they said, Byron, look, we have had other companies, and as far as we're concerned, yours was the best at monitoring our money. But we really don't think we can go further, and we may have to pull the plug. And that really meant that I was going out of business. One of the investors says, wait a minute, Byron, look, we could pull the plug now, but between the 7 of us, it wouldn't make much difference. Why don't you go back this holiday weekend, this was over the Christmas holiday, and forget about who you want to be. Go back to who you were and tell us what we could do with the balance of the money. Now, I got to tell you, I believe in fate. I have been so lucky where something wonderful has happened out of the blue that helped sustain me. That weekend I was depressed as hell. But I was in the middle of a dream, and it came to me, what the white people call an epiphany. I said, why don't I have a soap opera like I heard when I was growing up? And that way I can talk about a black family that comes from the South like mine, and the troubles they have when they get involved in a new experience, Chicago in this case, and there would be this broad family and the old people in the house criticizing the young wife and husband, and the kids now faced with gangs and drugs. So that was my dream, and I spent the time trying to write a pilot, and I was unsuccessful. And one day a guy comes to me and says, Byron, why don't you talk to a friend of mine about your soap opera? And I said, why should I? She says, because she's an actress and a director and a writer. She's African American, and I'll have her talk to you. And that's what happened. She told me what a soap opera was supposed to be after criticizing me for being so dumb and, you know, a businessman that has no real sensitivity. She says, a soap opera is trauma after trauma after trauma, and it's all about women. And she, in turn, did develop the plot, team of writers, all black, actors who weren't working, that included Ossie Davis, Ruby Dee, famous people, Billy D. Williams, and it was radio. Because radio was really the medium, and I learned how to barter time, because when advertising wasn't available, you could barter. That's how I got it. And so we had 39 weeks of a soap opera about black life and experience. And believe it or not, because I came from people from the South, I got Quaker Oats as a sponsor. Somebody at Quaker Oats, when we made our presentation, made the decision. And it happened to be an African-American woman who was a brand manager, but general management didn't think it was too interesting to them. But as a result, it was stories and miraculous intervention that helped me. So the brands that we had were brands that all black people, and probably most Southerners, grew up with. Quaker Oats, Quaker cornmeal, Quaker grits, Aunt Jemima pancake flour. But this was by growing up in these communities and listening to the stories, and that's what we did.
And it saved your agency.
Saved me, saved my agency, but it also set a platform that I operated from.